Where do you start? Where do you start with that today? We saw what we were able to do to City earlier on in the league on the counter-attack. And what we saw today is a Pep Guardiola who was ruthless. He came with proper tactics, a proper plan, and nullified us. And once you strip us of that counter-attacking play, we have nothing. The alarm bells were there as soon as you saw the team sheet. Yes, we wanted to get behind the team, so you don't want to be too negative beforehand because you always having your fingers crossed for a performance out the blue. But as soon as you see a midfield of Pereira and Fred with Lingard as a free, for me, I saw the alarm bells ring. I didn't even check City's midfield. I just knew whatever combination they put would cause trouble. And then what we saw with Bernardo Silva dropping in off the false nine into the midfield, he went wandering. There wasn't even a number 9 for them to mark between Lindelof and Jones. Bernardo Silva was just wandering all over the pitch, causing havoc. You had De Bruyne having the pick of the passes, the pick of the joy, just picking up space. He said he has an easy game against Arsenal at the Emirates a few weeks back when they were 3-0 up at half-time. This was even easier for him. Jones coming into the side, he had to play, so I'm not going to try and scapegoat him, but he wasn't very good. I felt like the uncertainty between him and Lindelof, you could tell they haven't played any football together. They both looked just as unsure as each other. That was a mess. Brandon Williams, hold your head high, son. Hold your head high. I thought you stood up and was counted for in a very, very difficult game. But on us, we just was not at it. I can take being inferior to City player for player because we know we are. Most teams City play by Liverpool, they're going to have superior players to their opposition. What I can't take is lack of application. I saw it was so comfortable for City. I know you just can't go running after City and try and out-press them. But if you are going to press, we need to go in waves. It needs to be something that's practiced. It needs to be something that's rehearsed. I saw Mason Greenwood running his arse off at times, trying to press, but then no one was going with him. Then I saw one time Daniel James doing it and no one going with him. Then I saw Rashford deciding to do it. There was just nothing in it. Lingard behind him. Lingard, listen, you don't want to bash players, you don't want to jump on players, but you have to talk about bad form. You have to talk about bad form. There's talks of Jesse Lingard signing up with Raiola now, looking for a move potentially, I don't know, or trying to get a bumper contract here. On his current form, he hasn't deserved it. He has not deserved it. I thought he was atrocious in the first half. He really was. There was a time he had a simple pass to just control. No one around him, misplaced his touch. It just went from bad to worse in that midfield area. I thought Pereira was just running around almost like a headless chicken, trying to make something happen. Fred was doing what Fred tries to do, which is try and, feed the ball into attacking spaces quickly, and it just did not work. City just did not get out of first gear, and it was embarrassing. The second goal, Lindelof, again, the ball's up in the air. I think he missed his challenge. Then he's trying to run back. He's out of position. He doesn't know who's in front of him. I think, or was it behind him? I can't even remember. But he doesn't stop the run. He tries to slide in, completely misses the ball. Mahrez has an easy tap in. The third goal, yes, you can call it unlucky because it's hit off Pereira and gone in, but just the way that they were in down the flanks. De Bruyne sits Phil Jones down on his arse, skins him. De Gea makes a decent save and it bounces off him. And then at that point, I honestly feared the worst. It was signs of them scoring 6 here all over again. People, I don't know if a lot of people haven't said it in the fan cams, but I don't know what it's going to be like on social media, what you guys think. For me, I'm not trying to hear any energy of, but we played better in the second half. I heard that Solskjaer said, yeah, we picked it up in the second half. That was game management from City. Don't get that twisted. Don't get that twisted. Ricky mentioned it in his fan cam, sort of saying, what do you think that City just passed the ball around the back and took their foot off the gas? Well, I think they did take their foot off the gas. I think they were in complete control. They got very, very sloppy in what led to our goal, to the counter-attack that led to it. They were quite sloppy. Other than that, and then after that, there was no reaction because City were firmly back in control again. You can't let little isolated moments of a game trick you into believing that you got a foothold in it. You can't. We all want us to come back, but I'm not kidding myself there. That's not what I saw. What we saw was one manager who is obviously one of the best managers in the world, and another manager who's unclear on his tactics, who's unclear on the style of play, on the way of playing. And today sparked a lot of angry reaction from fans. Yes, there's going to be a section of us, and I don't want to put it into sections and divide us, but there's going to be some people who believe that, look, what do you expect? It's City at home, we're playing Manchester City. They've got better players than us all over the park. But if you look at it in the context of our own performance, I get it. Like I said at the beginning of this roundup, I can take losing. I can take that. But having no style of play, having no pattern of play, having no obvious style, I just didn't see it. And then on top of that, you feed in the lack of confidence from these players that we saw and the capitulation. It was just embarrassing. It really, really was. And it should have been probably 5-0 at half-time. It should have been. If Raheem Sterling had his shooting boots on, it probably would have been 5. For me, are we out of the Carabao Cup? Look, I know we went to PSG and did a madness and it worked, but for me, I don't see it. I do not see it. That's at the end of the month, but there's so many games in between that. We've got Norwich coming up here. The games are coming thick and fast, and the squad's looking depleted. The squad's looking jaded. They're looking tired. They're looking lethargic. I'm just not seeing the energy. I thought Marcus Rashford today, yes, he captained the side, but he didn't look at the races. Yeah, he got his goal, took his goal well, which was pretty much the only chance he had. But other than that, he wasn't really in the game. Dan James, I do feel it for Dan James because it's not his fault. His style of play doesn't suit. His attributes don't suit our style of play, whatever our style of play is now, which is basically try and get in behind. There's not any space in behind. We had one long, either diagonal or a straight ball, bypassing the midfield, trying to get into space in the wings. That's all we had. Lumping it up to Mason Greenwood, who I thought was struggling at times today because of the service into him. Lumping up to him to get gobbled up by Otamendi. Fernandinho just sweeping up casually. He had an easy game. He won't even need to wash his kit afterwards. He was that composed. So an embarrassing performance, and we got Norwich, and we have to win. We have to win. We have to get back to winning ways very quickly. It's looking bleak. Wolves again in the FA Cup. I just fear for the rest of this month. I really do. I don't like being too reactionary after results, but you can only look at it in context of what's been happening. And since the start of 2020, we have not been good at all. Awful away to Arsenal, average away to Wolves, well below par, not a shot on target, and shocking here today. That's 3 games, and it hasn't been good. I haven't seen the post-match interview from Solskjaer, but I'm going to take a look at it. We need to spend in January, and we need serious reinforcements. That midfield, I mean, Matic, the balance would have been better with Matic in there. I agree. When Matic did come on, yeah, he played a few more passes. He looked after it a bit more. But then there were other times when he was too slow and taking his time on it too much. Probably because of lack of options. I don't always blame the player in possession. A lot of the times we get frustrated as Man United fans, especially when you're in a stadium, when you want us to pass forward quickly, you want us to make something happen. You want to see urgency. But I don't know. I want to say we all play football. I've played football at half decent standard, and if you haven't got any options on the ball, you have to keep it. You have to keep it. If your style of play doesn't give you marauding wingers, doesn't give you fullbacks bombing on, doesn't give you people in triangles offering with 1-2s to bounce it off, you have to keep the ball. Because then if the person tries to force the pass to the pass that isn't there, then we start throwing our hands up. So yes, I get it. There were times today. I'm not sticking up or standing up for the whole of the performance, because it was a bad performance, and yes, too many times we did go backwards. But I'm just saying, in other moments there are times when it is better to keep the ball, and I felt the frustration for a lot of the players today. Yes, they weren't good enough across the park, but I saw Brandon Williams wanting to make something happen. His first look is up. What can I do? He's looking, I've got to go back. I need to keep the ball. What am I going to do? Hit it 20 yards, 25 yards diagonal and just give it away? Phil Jones, he looks so unsure. He looks so unsure on the ball, which is what we've come to expect sometimes of Phil Jones. A few shaky moments, but every time he got the ball, he had his hands out here saying, well, what can I do? And then he's kind of throwing it, like hitting the air, passing it back to De Gea. De Gea going back to Lindelof. Lindelof saying, what do I do? And also from the goal kicks, we're persistent on passing out from the back. And it's just a clueless style of play. And it's a common frustrating theme. Roll on to Norwich in a few days, back here. Hopefully we get the job done. We need to bounce back. And quick. Drop your views in the comments in the boxes below. Big thank you to you guys for watching the latest of our videos, and if you want to check out more, make sure you do that just to the right of me. We are the biggest and best Manchester United channel in the world. Make sure you check us out on all of the socials as well: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube. The socials are along the bottom. Peace.